Hey guys,
I'm Kat,
and I'm Sarah,
and we're just two best friends.
serving the Lord. And on today's episode, we will be talking about being a virtuous woman. So the scripture I'll be reading out of is Proverbs 31:10 through 31. And I'll read through it, and then we'll go through and talk about each verse. So verse 10 says, "Who can find a virtuous woman? Woman, for her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant ships, she bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. She considereth a field, and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry, her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up, and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates." Okay. So, starting out, I asked the question, what does it mean to be virtuous? Like, you've always heard of the virtuous woman, but like, do you actually know what it means to be virtuous?
I don't actually.
I never did until I did the study. So, I like to go online and like look up different people's commentary or like opinions.
Yeah.
Not opinions, but like their thoughts on it.
Right.
And so I found on the Bible Study Tools website, Heather Adams was the girl who wrote this. She said, "A person of virtue makes the progression from knowing what is right to doing what is right. They intentionally choose what to say, do, and value, reaching beyond the good toward the best." So there's a difference between knowing what's right and then actually doing what's right. And it's actually much harder to put it into action and like the things that we know is right rather than like the things that we know is right and then actually doing it.
Right.
And so why is that? Like why is it so hard for us to actually do like good rather than just knowing it? And it's because we're just sinful creatures.
Yeah.
So, but God is completely good. He sets the example for us, and His Word shows us how to intentionally choose to do good. Heather Adams also said, "In every situation, a virtuous person knows that they have an opportunity to honor the Lord and reflect Him to others." So being virtuous also means we are to be aware of the fact that every single day we have an opportunity to reflect God's light in everything that we do, whether it's at the grocery store or at work. Like your actions and your words reflect who the Father is.
Yeah.
I think especially at work it's hard because working in healthcare, there's days where you have those really rude customers.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely hard to reflect God's light.
Oh yeah.
But that's what it means to be virtuous. So just knowing that like you have an opportunity to do good every day. And then actually I have a verse reference. So we're going to Matthew 5 verse 14.
I don't know, where am I? Oh wait, I put it over here. Just kidding. And you said it was Matthew what?
Matthew 5 verse 14.
Oh, I'm in 30. That's not right.
Okay. Got it.
Yep.
All right. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. And we're going to skip down to verse 16. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So we're to be the light to the world around us. And especially in today's society, it's very hard to do that sometimes.
Yeah.
But, so, to be a virtuous, not just woman, but person, just always attempt, or at least try to reflect God's light. Yeah. So, going to, like, each individual verse, so verse 10, it says, oh, no. Hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. Did you know that each of the 22 verses actually begin with a consecutive letter of the Hebrew alphabet?
I did not know.
I didn't either. Yeah. Apparently, it's an acrostic poem, and so it's kind of like the ABCs of being a virtuous woman. Yeah. So, what are the 22 traits of a virtuous woman? So, verse 10 starts it. So, number 1, she is rare. So, it says, for her price is far above rubies. I couldn't really find, like, what, I guess, the, like, cost or value of a ruby was, but I think it was actually worn on, like, robes and, like, priest clothing, stuff like that. So I think it was actually, like, very high in value. But one thing that stuck out to me here was it says, who can find a virtuous woman? So as women, we're not to find, like, a husband, we're to be found.
Right.
And so, and also, like, that means that when they do find us, we're to be virtuous when they find us.
Yeah.
So we have to work on being virtuous until then.
Right.
So number 2, she is trustworthy. So that is verse 11. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. So I'm not married or in a relationship right now, but I can still prepare to be a wife. Like, we both can.
Yeah.
And so we can prepare to be a wife, so that way when we do become one, we have an idea of how we should treat our husbands. And I feel like this is a good, like, set of examples of how we should treat our spouse. But it says that the husband trusts the wife. So we should be a safe place for our husbands, and they should be at peace when they're with us, not, like, at animosity.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, especially in this day and time, a lot of it is, like, the women are just always getting mad at the husbands, or, like, they're always saying, like, oh, well, didn't mean to come at you. But, like, they're always saying, oh, he's a man. And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we joke about it, but at the same time, like, we should be a safe place for them.
Right.
And so, I don't know, I just feel like today's society really, like, downgrades men.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's another topic for another day. Let's see. Oh, number 3, she is loving. So verse 12, she will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. So it's a beautiful and nowadays a rare thing for a wife who truly loves and respects her husband, and appreciates him. I feel like a lot of times we take men for granted.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they are the protector and the provider, and us as women, we kind of
Just take that.
Yeah, we take that and run with it. And
Yeah.
I don't know, there's just a lot with today's society that
Oh yeah.
is wrong, really. But so a virtuous woman, she cares about his well-being, and she wants to do good for him and not evil. And so, like, I know in the past, like, I know of a person who was married, and his wife did not, like, appreciate him, and she did not respect him. And I know we talk a lot about, like, men being abusive, but there are women who are abusive to their husbands.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And I don't know. That's just
Well, and I think it's hard too because like there's a lot of men out there that like are in these relationships with mentally and verbally abusive women, and they're just, when they come out about it, they're seen as weak, or they're seen as, like they downgrade them so much, and it's just like, why are we downgrading them?
exactly, they're people too.
Yeah.
Like they have emotions too.
I've noticed that a lot. Like, you get all these women that are coming out and saying like, this man did this or this man did this, and while I think it should be paid attention to, I think we should also be paying attention to the men that are coming out and saying this as well.
Yeah.
Because they're just as important as everybody else is.
Exactly. Well, I think you hit it on the head there. Definitely. Okay, number 4, she is industrious. So it says in verse 13, she seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. I know in today's society we don't necessarily like work a lot like with our hands, like with wool and flax like they did back then.
Yeah.
But the thing that's like spoke out to me here was it says she worketh willingly. So the word willingly means of one's own free will or voluntarily. So she doesn't work because someone told her to. She just does it out of the goodness and love of her heart. There's a difference between being told to do something and then wanting to do something.
Yeah.
And so here I feel like she chooses to do this work for her family and chooses to do this work out of the goodness of her heart, which a lot of, I feel like in today's society, I don't know what that was.
The good old country.
Oh yeah. In today's society, a lot of women, I guess, are spiteful.
Oh yeah.
Like most definitely. Okay. Oh, and then number 5, she's thrifty. Kind of goes along with industrious, hardworking. So verse 14, she is like the merchant's ships. She bringeth her food from afar. I didn't really like understand the merchant ships.
Yeah.
And so I tried like finding more about that, but I could not find anything. Like I even looked up different translations and like explaining on like the study Bible, could not find anything about merchant ships. So I think it kind of goes along with she's hardworking and industrious. So number 6, she is self-starting and she's sacrificial. So that is verse 15. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. So she rises early before the sun is up, so that she can provide food for her family before they begin their day. And so I actually had a thought here, like, when we get up in the mornings, we will try to read our Bibles, so that we have like a good day. But here, she gets up early to make food for our physical bodies, for her family's physical bodies, to help them prepare for the day.
Yeah.
Just like we get spiritual food to prepare us for the day. And so she kind of helps give food in that way, which is kind of cool to think about.
Yeah.
But, like, I guess as women, we kind of take it for granted of, like, I mean, I know we're not moms yet, but, like, not really take for granted, but, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not really downgrade, but, like, underestimate. There we go. Underestimate, like, the ability to cook and to provide a meal. But, like, you were giving your family food and sustenance to sustain them for the rest of the day.
Right.
And so that's an important part of being a mom. And so it's not taken for granted.
Yeah.
Point 7. Number 7, she is good at enterprising and making wise business decisions. I don't know if I make wise business decisions.
That's what I'm sitting here thinking. I don't know if I do either.
We can definitely strive to.
Yeah. Attempt,
yes. So it's verse 16. She considereth a field and buyeth it with the fruit of her hands. she planteth a vineyard. I don't know if I could plant a whole vineyard with my hands, but kudos to this woman here. Um, she she is intentional with her money, and she reinvests in a project that promotes further growth for her family. So she, let's see, it says she considereth a field and buyeth it, and then with the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. Like, it took me a second to like kind of realize what this was saying, but it's like she thinks ahead, she thinks of the future.
Yeah.
And so instead of like wasting her money on, as we go and shop and do different stuff, like, and just buy like random stuff, like she holds on to that and then she plans ahead for the future. So I know that I could definitely learn from that and try to do better.
Me too.
Number 8, she is clothed with strength. So that is verse 17. She girdeth her loins with strength and strengtheneth her arms. So as Christians, we know that our strength does not come from us, but it comes from the Lord. And so we're actually going to flip to Psalms 28:7.
Whoops.
You there?
Yes.
Okay. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusted in him, and I am helped. Therefore my heart greatly rejoiceth, and with my song will I praise him. So the Lord is our strength. And so here, where it says, she girdeth her loins with strength and strengtheneth her arms. Her strength, which, I mean, at the end it says that a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. And so this virtuous woman, she knows that her strength is not within herself, but within the Lord. And so I think that's something that we could all definitely learn from.
Yeah.
Let's see. Whoa, hold on. 0.8. There we go. So, nope. 0.9. There we go. She is confident in her work, and she is willing to work long hours into the night. So that is verse 18. There we go. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. So she's confident in herself and in her work, but on the other side, she's a hard worker and she works long into the night. So, like, hold on. I thought about this last night and then I forgot where I was going with this. I had it and then I lost it. But it's fine.
Well, thinking about like when I think about like working into the night, I think of like moms and like how being a mom, like your job never ends.
Yeah.
Like no matter what time it is, no matter what day it is, like your job never ends. And so I think that's definitely a underrated job, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that the word I'm looking for? And it goes very unnoticed.
Yeah.
In a lot of aspects.
Yeah. Like she works long into the night and then she's up early in the morning.
Yeah.
So she legit
to do that,
gets
to do the food for the family.
Yeah. And so she gets the least amount of sleep.
Yeah.
Moms are underappreciated.
They really are.
Thank you, Mom.
Yeah, thank you.
We love you. Both moms.
Yes.
Okay. Point number 10. She is willing to do monotonous work or daily tasks. So, verse 19. Yeah. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. So I had no idea what a distaff was, so I had to look it up. Apparently, it is a tool used to twist threads, and since spinning was a regular daily task, like that women did back then, the distaff became known as like the symbolic meaning for a woman's work.
Huh.
Yeah. So kind of like in today's society, like doing dishes or like keeping the house clean, doing different chores and stuff, like laundry. Like back then, spinning was a part of that. And so the distaff became like the symbol for a woman's work. So she's willing to do work like every single day that's the same thing over and
Yeah.
over. Because I mean, as wives and as mothers, like there's just continuous work that always has to be done.
Yeah.
Like, and who else is going to do it? So
Definitely not these men. Sorry, no shade to the men.
no shit. What did we talk about? No, point 11. She is compassionate. So this is verse 20. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. So compassion is something that a lot of people today don't have.
Yeah.
And like if it doesn't benefit them, then they don't want anything to do with it. And so but this Proverbs 31 woman, she has compassion on others and she reaches out to help, not like she reaches out to help, not expecting anything in return.
Yeah.
And so as women and as Christians, we need to be that way because Jesus was.
Right.
And so we can definitely, I know, like I can definitely work on that, especially working in healthcare. It's very hard.
Yeah.
Point 12. She is prepared. I am not.
I don't think any of us are.
No. So that's verse 21. She is not afraid of the snow, for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. So it says her household is clothed with scarlet in preparation for the snow. And so just like we need to prepare for physical winter, we also need to prepare for spiritual winter as well. So she prepares her household with scarlet, which I'm not really quite sure what scarlet is, but I'm guessing it's like clothing that prepares them for winter. I don't know. But in a way, we can do that spiritually. Right. So, like, we need to prepare, like, in the summer months of our spiritual lives, yes, like, life's going good, but we still need to read God's word to prepare for those winter months, right. Those long winter months.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I saw that and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Point 13. She is a good seamstress. I don't know how to sew, so I'm definitely not. But that's okay. On verse 22. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry, and her clothing is silk and purple. So we may not make our own clothes like we used to, but we can still provide for our future families, and make sure that they have everything that they need. And like moms out there they do provide for their families. Yeah. But yeah. Point 14, she is married to a leader. And that's verse 23. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. So as wives or future wives, we need to make sure that we marry somebody who can lead our home physically and spiritually. It says her husband is known in the gates. Do you think he's known for being like a slob or a drunk? Or do you think he's known for his leadership? And so it's very important for us to choose our husbands wisely.
Yeah.
Verse 15, nope, not verse. Point 15. She's an entrepreneur. That's a big word.
That is.
Verse 24. She maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Again, there's that merchant. I'm not quite sure what a merchant. I think it's like someone who sells things.
I think so.
Not 100% sure. Need to do more research on that. So
sorry. I was looking down here at the bottom of my Bible, and it says that merchants is good. Taking is... Oh, no, never mind. That's a different thing. That's a different thing.
Just kidding. So this, again, kind of ties in with, like, verse 16 and verse 22. So she's a good businesswoman, and she helps to provide for her family. Yeah, she maketh fine linen and selleth it. So, point 16. She is not swayed by circumstances. So, verse 25. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. So, again, our strength comes from the Lord. So, in bad times or in hard times, she looks to him for strength and honor. She trusts that no matter what she faces, her God will deliver her. So it says she shall rejoice in time to come. She knows that the storm doesn't last forever, that one day the sun will come out. But until then, the Lord is her anchor and her strength when she is weak.
Hmm.
Point 17. She is. This is a lot of points, man. She is wise and kind. So that's verse 26. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. I know that as just coming out of high school a couple years ago, girls are mean
Yeah,
with their words.
absolutely.
And so to only speak of wise and kind things in especially today's society is crazy to think
Yeah.
because we always have something negative to say.
I mean, it's
So,
even hard, like, not even only as a teenager, but like even as an adult, because like you get those days it's just like you've had such a bad day at work, or like you've had such a bad day just in general, or like even a bad week, and it just feels like nothing's looking up. And it's so hard to be so positive about that and be like, oh, hey, in the end, everything's going to look up. Like it's very hard,
yeah,
especially as human.
I know, like yesterday, it was a bad day at work and I called you and I was
Mm-hmm.
like venting, and those were not wise or kind words that I said. And then I did this study, and the Lord was like, Sarah, remember. But, so a lot of times women don't have nice things to say, especially in this society. All that we have to say is something mean or ugly, but this Proverbs 31 woman speaks with wisdom and kindness, so we need to choose our words wisely.
Yes.
That's what adults always meant when they said that.
That's true, because you do hear that growing up in school.
Yeah, I feel like I had a flashback to like Glenwood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Point 18. She is duty conscious or not lazy. So that's verse 27. She looketh well to the ways of her household and eateth not the bread of idleness. So idleness means undisciplined slackness or laziness, which I know that we can be very late. Like I can be very lazy sometimes and like not want to do something. But this this woman here, she looketh well to the ways of her household, and so she takes care of her house and makes it a home.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I guess I need to work on. I don't have my own house yet, but when I do, work on that. Um, and then point 19, she is blessed by her family. So this one just kind of speaks for itself, but it's verse 28. Her children arise up and called her blessed, and her husband also, and he praiseth her. Um, I know there's a lot of like there's some families where I guess the children like don't praise the mom,
Yeah.
or they even like there's two ways. There's like the children who don't appreciate the moms and they talk down to their moms or talk bad about their moms. But then you can have it the other way around where the moms do it to the children.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there needs to be a balance where your children respect the mother, but the mother respects the children too.
Yeah.
And the same with the husband. Like I guess we need to be women that respects our husband, but then like he also
He
gives
has
us
to respect
respect,
you. Yeah.
which goes along with choose your husband wisely.
Yeah.
Make sure he loves the Lord.
Yep.
All right. Point 20. She strives to exceed expectation. So that is verse 29. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. So I don't want to say here that she is better than other women, or she tries to compete against other women, but that she strives to exceed the expectations that have been set before her. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was late when I was studying this, but so instead of like competing against other women, like strive to do your best, what you know is
Yeah.
best, and the Lord will bless you for that.
I think that's definitely like something I've struggled with is like, I mean, the experiences that I've had with the past and stuff that I've went through. And I think that's definitely been my biggest thing. Like I look at what other people are doing and I'm like, I feel like I need to do that. I need to be better with that. Like I need to do this. And so I mean just like hearing that and seeing it like firsthand in the Bible, it just kind of makes me like not necessarily second guess it, but like realize like, hey, you need to focus more on yourself and not on others. Like, I'm more of a people-pleasing person, believe it or not. And so I definitely, like, compare myself to others. And it's definitely hard, especially in this society.
Yeah, especially like social media.
Yeah.
And like you see all these posts that's like, oh, my perfect life.
Yeah.
But it's really not. And that's kind of one thing that I wanted to do this podcast for, was to show that like life's not all glamorous.
It's really not.
No, like there's ups and downs. Ups and downs. There we go. Yeah. But it's through those ups and downs that you learn who God is.
Yeah.
Amen. Did you have anything else to say or add to that? Okay. So point 21, she is a woman of God. So verse 30 says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. So, we're actually going to flip to Proverbs 2, 5 and 6. So, if you've ever read Proverbs, then you know that the theme of Proverbs is wisdom and knowledge and fear of the Lord. And so, Proverbs chapter 2, verse 5 and 6. Do you want to read that?
Sure. Then shalt thou understand the fear of the Lord, and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding.
So, like the first step to becoming wise is actually to fear the Lord.
Yeah.
And so, and the Bible talks about that a lot. I couldn't really like find all the places that it talks about it, but it's in there. Read it for yourself. But she fears the Lord, and I feel like definitely today a lot of people don't fear the Lord.
Yeah.
Like they use his name in vain, and
right.
They talk about hell as if it's going to be a party. Like it's not. And I don't know, there just needs to be more fear of God.
Yeah.
In everyone, not just women, but everyone. Right. Let's see. Point 22. She is praiseworthy. So, this is verse 31. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. So, she has lived a life full of grace, honor, and strength. She has worked hard, and she also receives blessings from God because of it. So, because of her hard work that she puts in, like all the long nights and the early mornings, like because she worked and she strived towards that, like God blesses her in the end.
Yeah.
So in conclusion,
this is probably gonna look different than the last part of the video because we had some technical difficulties. Unfortunately, working with technology is not our friend, so if it looks different, that's why. But we're back. We're ready to finish.
Yeah. Okay, so in conclusion, while this Proverbs 31 woman is not an actual woman, but she is an ideal woman. And so it's not just a list of challenges, but it's a list of rather like possibilities. So instead of saying like, oh, well, I can't achieve this one and this one and this one.
Right.
Like the seamstress, I don't know how to sew.
Right.
But maybe it's not a physical sewing. Maybe it's a spiritual sewing. Whoa, sorry, that just came to me.
That was the Lord.
Maybe it's not a physical like entrepreneur. Maybe it's a spiritual.
It's all spiritual.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. That was not me, guys. That was definitely the Lord. So maybe it's not a list of challenges like physically. Maybe it's a list of challenges spiritually and possibilities.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so this is actually not my Bible. This is my mom's Bible. But I need to get me one. It's the Women's Study Bible. And it goes like it has a lot of commentary about different women in the Bible. And like it has I've not really like gone through it and like read it, but it helps like encourage women and like shows that women are not just because I mean yes, the Bible says that women are supposed to be submissive to their husbands, but it also shows that like women are not just like doormats.
Yeah.
Like there are women in the Bible who God used to do his work and his will too.
Right.
And so that's what I like about this Women's Study Bible. But um, in for Proverbs 31, the Women's Study Bible, they wrote, "She displays the many qualities and astonishing array of activities and accomplishments available to those seeking godly womanhood." So her beauty was not merely outward, but rather it was beauty that comes from her inner character and who she is as a Christian. So what was the key to her success? So like we stated before, she feared and she reverenced the Lord. So this was her key to success. So our key to success as Christian women is to fear the Lord first and foremost,
Right.
to respect him. And so this actually kind of closes the book of Proverbs out very well, because it kind of ties in the whole theme of it, which is wisdom, which we stated wisdom is the fear of the Lord.
Right.
So it kind of concludes Proverbs very well with a woman who fears the Lord. And it also says true wisdom comes from the fear of the Lord. Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you did really good.
Thanks. Well, like we stated, the verse of the day is Proverbs 31:10, which is, "Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies." So, I guess application, try to be more virtuous in our lives, and don't look at like Proverbs 31 as like a, what's what I'm looking for, like intimidating list of challenges, but like something that we can all like personally work on.
Yeah.
So
something you can strive to be.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have for today. But I hope y'all have a blessed day, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.